Welcome. Today I would like to show you how you can easily add or remove signals in huge Simulink models with MES MoRe. The first action I want to show you is called Add Cross-Hierarchy Signal. This action allows you to add a signal across your subsystem hierarchy with just a few clicks. You can add signals from lower levels to higher levels or the other way around, or from one subsystem to a subsystem in a completely different part of the model. It doesn't matter where the source and target blocks are located, as long as they are within the same model. In this example, I will add a signal from top to bottom. For this, I can either select the source block or an existing source signal. Then I start the action Add Cross-Hierarchy Signal from the MoRe menu, which opens a dialog. Now I can easily navigate in the model to the target block. And select it. Then I choose Get Selected Block in the dialog and start the action with OK. MES MoRe then creates all necessary port blocks and signal lines to connect the source block to the target block. MES MoRe also names all the created ports according to the source name. In the second example here, the name of the ports cannot be determined via the source. In this case, after selecting the target block, you can specify a name for the ports in the dialog. Additionally, in this example here, the target block is a subsystem. In this case, MES MoRe can create a new target port for you on the subsystem. The next two actions are called Add Input Signal from Higher Level and Add Output Signal up to Higher Level. These actions allow you to quickly add new external signals without having to leave the subsystem you're working on. Imagine you're working on a functional subsystem somewhere down in your model hierarchy. Now, at some point, you realize that you need another input signal here. You know exactly which higher level subsystem needs to provide this signal. Now you can add this input signal without having to leave the current subsystem. To do this, simply choose the action Add Input Signal from Higher Level from the MoRe menu. In the dialog of the action, you can select the source level and the name of the signal. When you click OK, MES MoRe will create the new input signal coming from the selected higher level. The selected source system is typically the top-level system, which means the signal comes from outside of the model. Or also typically a level whose inputs and outputs are automatically generated by other tools, for example the root level of a software unit. So the action allows you to fully concentrate on your work on the current subsystem and care about the external connections later. Or you may want to create the interface of the subsystem first without having to leave it. For output signals, you can use the corresponding action called add output signal up to a higher level. For an output signal, you can also select the source block where the new output signal should start. The next action is called remove cross-hierarchy signal backward. So instead of adding a signal, you now want to remove a signal. Imagine your model contains this signal called C. In this case, the signal branches to two different subsystems. Now imagine you are currently working on a subsystem somewhere inside this upper subsystem that makes use of the signal C. At some point during your work on the subsystem, you may find that you no longer need that particular input signal. This could be because the requirements have changed, or you have solved the problem with a different approach that makes the signal obsolete. Now you want to remove the signal backwards, either to the source block of the signal, or, if the signal branches, backward to the branch point. With MES More, you can select the signal to be removed and start the action Remove Cross-Hierarchy Signal Backward from the menu. In the dialog, you can choose the block at which you want to stop the removal. The dialog lists all virtual blocks on the signal path backward to the source block of the signal. You can double-click on all elements to highlight the corresponding block in the model. Typically, you want to remove the signal backward to the source block or branch point of the signal. This is the last item in the list. When you click OK, MES More removes the signal backward to the selected stop block. Here you can see that the action has removed only the upper signal branch, and the other branch remains untouched. So as you can see, the signal is removed all the way to the point where we started the action. The action can also be used if the corresponding signal is part of a bus. Then the action automatically removes the signal from all bus creators and bus selectors on the signal path backward. The next action is called Remove Cross-Hierarchy Signal Forward. The use case is a bit different from the backward removal. Imagine you're working on this part of the model, and now the interface has changed so that this signal C here is no longer available. In this case, you want to remove the signal forward along all its branches. But in addition to the removal, you want to know where the signal was actually used before, because you need to adjust these parts of your model after the removal. So with MES More, you can select the signal where you want to start the removal, Then you can launch the Remove Cross-Hierarchy Signal Forward action from the MoRe menu. After the removal, a dialog appears that lists all the blocks that have lost their input signal due to the removal. You can double-click on the items to highlight the block in the model. You can then adjust the model accordingly. The next action can be used to convert go-to-from blocks to signal lines. Converting go-to-from blocks to signal lines can improve the readability of the model as the true signal flow becomes more obvious. With MES More, you can convert either the selected go-to-froms or all go-to-froms in the current subsystem at once. For converting individual go-to-from connections, you can select either the go-to or the from block. If you select a from block that has other from blocks with the same tag, only the selected from block will be converted. If you select the go-to block, then all associated from blocks will be converted. If you select nothing at all, then all go-to-from blocks in the current subsystem will be converted. After the conversion, you can start rearranging the blocks to make the data flow more obvious. This is usually a good starting point for further refactoring.